Welcome to the Railway Laser Lines how-to video, and this one is to build the fueling grid, and I will be showing you how to do the center fueling grid, which is the part in front of us, and then obviously then you've got the extension side fueling grids, and once painted and done they should look something like that. So items that you'll need is some glue. I use any of the deluxe materials range. I use Superfatic glue on this one because it's a nice thin glue. You can use the glue and glaze, and I think they do a laser cut glue as well. I don't recommend PVA on this material. This is our model board. It can swell up if you use too much water and glue, so I tend to use deluxe materials. And obviously then we've got our pot of water just for rinsing our brush out. I've got a brush, a little cocktail stick sometimes I use just to make sure the glue is along the lines, and a zippy blade, and I've just got a spare bit of MDF which I put my glue on. So first thing to do was obviously to remove all the parts from the template, and you'll see I've put some tiny little dashed lines where you need to put your zippy blade in. So there's a few little places. Obviously on the main grid it's held in at the ends, hence why you can see it's sort of like bowing up, but it's not held on in the middle, although I think I've actually amended that now to make sure, because obviously when this comes out the laser there's about 400 tiny little hole pieces that have to come out, and if I hit it too hard this comes out, so I think I've added another little tag on there. So take all the bits out, and then we'll start the build. Don't take the bits out of this one just yet, we'll come back to that one when we come to build it. So we'll start on this one, we'll take all the bits out, I'll come back and show you when that's done. That's all the parts removed, and you'll see on the long strip there are two tiny little lines on the end there, and there's a single line on the end there. So, and that's duplicated on that side, so you need to make sure that they're opposite. So single lines opposite, double lines opposite, and obviously you'll see these tags fit in here. Now you've got two cross members that need to fit inside here, so we need to tip this one upside down basically. I'm trying to do this one-handed, holding the phone. Tip upside down, add some glue in the hole there and hole there, and add those two pieces, and then we can fit it to the side on here, and then we can fit the end part to the top, and then we can fit the side parts that fit in. It'll all make sense as we go along, so we'll start doing the build. So that's the two cross members in. Then our next we need to do is to glue along the top of the long piece, and also perhaps add a tiny little bit of glue inside the holes, but do that from underneath so you don't get it all messy. You'll see this is flexible, it's like not straight, but obviously once you fit it in the holes that will make it straight. It is a very flexible material, so we're going to add a bead of glue all the way along in the holes and join that one up, and then we'll come back. When fitting the side piece, it's easier to do it upside down to push into the holes, or literally pick it up and push it in. Don't push too hard, they should slot in there nicely. Obviously at the ends it might still start to bow, just try and get it as straight as possible, but don't worry about that because we can alter that slightly. I just tend to take the glue away from the ends, so I can add these end pieces, and then I'll run a bead of glue down here. But first of all I'll run a bead of glue in the center three pieces just to keep those in position while we're waiting to do the other side. So next bit is to replicate what we've just done on this side here, adding some glue to the top of that part and in the holes, push it down, and then we'll come back. Don't forget to push the cross members in the side of the holes, and just tip it on its side and just make sure that you've got it fitting nice and flush with the end. If it doesn't quite fit, then just push it on its back and just use your fingers and thumbs just to push it down into position so it fits nicely. Then what we can do is we can fit the end pieces, and they just slot in over the top. So hopefully the glue hasn't set on this bit because we didn't add too much glue, and we'll fit those bits on there and there, and then that bit is done. that's the ends in place. Now we obviously just wanted a piece of glue on the end there, piece of glue on the end there, piece of glue in the middle where it meets the top, i.e. there. You can use some tweezers to put it in position because it is a tiny little piece of mortarboard that goes on the end. As you can see, if I can put it on there, that is, if it goes into focus, it is a small piece. Use your fingers and thumbs to get it into position. It will go in, it shouldn't break, and then do exactly the same with the other end, and then that's that bit done. All I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run with my cocktail stick is some glue just inside these edges all the way along around the edges, just to protect it. And then all it does, it needs a coat of black paint from underneath. Although you're not going to see this, it's certainly still worth painting underneath. I just use a black paint, a matte black paint, and spray it, and then do make sure you spray the sides, and then obviously when it's dry, spray the top, and then it'll end up looking like that. So that's that one done. So then we need to move on to the extension sides pieces. If you haven't bought these, then you can finish the video and crack on. But if you've bought the extension sides, then we'll show you exactly how to do these, which is near enough the same as what we've just done. Moving on to the extension sides, again, we just need to remove these from the templates. And again, you'll see little lines on the template where you need to just cut through, do all that. And then we'll come back and we'll glue this together like we did on the last one. The only difference is on this one, we've got our long piece slightly in from the outside, because obviously this is going on the edge of the track and the chairs. So we need to bring this forward, and obviously then one end fits in the side. And then we've got the two pieces that go on either end. And then if you want to, there are 4 inner pieces if you just simply want to put them inside these joins to give it some added protection and joining from each side. So let's cut all those pieces out and then we'll start gluing. So all the parts have been removed from the template. The small long piece will go in these holes here. Now ideally you most probably only want to glue inside the holes and underneath around. This is a bar that's going to go underneath, so you don't really want too much glue showing underneath here. It will fit in position, and obviously we've got our 4 joiner pieces, so once you put those in between and added a bit of glue, this will bond this one to this one. And again, the outside one is going underneath this end piece here and then in the indent, so you can add a bead of glue all the way along. And then we've got those tiny little end pieces, which again you'll need to use tweezers because they are extremely tiny, and they'll fit on and they'll just latch in between the 2 end parts. So we've got 2 lots to do, so obviously I'm going to do one and show you, and then I'll come back with the other one completed to show you what they look like. So just a small amount of glue on this one, and then we'll come back and show you how it's done and finished. And that's the smaller strip in place. Now obviously at the end we haven't joined it up, so it's loose at the moment, but obviously it's glued in there, there, there and there, so that's going to hold it in position. Once we've added the side piece and the end pieces, these will hold nicely. So we just need now to glue the other side. When doing this side piece, I hold it up and I'll push it in, and I'll use my fingers and thumb just to pinch it together to make sure it all fits nicely. And then what I do is I'll drop it down like this and put it on its side and make sure it's at a 90-degree angle, and then just go down and just pinch it again to make sure it fits nicely together. Once that's done, then you can put it upside down, and then we can fit those 2 tiny little end pieces that will just notch in, and then we've got our 4 tiny little pieces that will fit in between the joins there, and hopefully that will all fit it together nicely. With both ends now in place, it's just now a matter of adding the 4 tiny little pieces, and run some glue along here and up the sides, do that on off. It doesn't matter where they go here, they're not going to be seen, so you'd have to get them exact, but they're just going to be used for added strength. So just add your glue, use your tweezers to put them into place, pinch them together with your fingers and thumbs on the side, and then allow to dry. And that's both extension pieces done. Now obviously take your time. These end pieces are extremely fiddly, and you might find with your tweezers it sticks to your tweezers. Just make sure your tweezers are kept nice and clean, and just use your fingers and thumbs to hold it in position as well, just for like 10-15 seconds. You can manipulate it with your fingers and thumbs once it's on, because obviously once they're joined, done, and on top joining them, you just want to see the two together, so hence why there's a slight indent inside so they don't overlap. But that's done. I'm going to allow those to dry for a good 10-15 minutes, and then we can give them a black coat of paint and fit them to our track. And in good old Blue Peter fashion, here's the ones that I made earlier. Obviously this is the centerpiece. Now obviously, as you can see, it's designed to just slot over the Pico track. Now this is bullet track. I haven't tried it on flat bottom. I presume it's going to be exactly the same because it's not affecting. And you'll see there's a corner piece at the end which basically overlaps the middle of a sleeper, and it will just literally slot in place and drop it down, and that's it. You can glue it into position if you want, and obviously then if you build up any extension pieces from another pack, then they'll join in and rest on the middle of the sleeper, and then obviously the end pieces just literally slot over the top, get them in line, and they will rest up against the rail. Again, you might want to glue them in position. Stick this one in position on the other side. Ideally you want to match up the lines going across, and glue them in, and that is your fueling grid. Ideally they need to have some hard standing around them, so you can get some layers of card or MDF. This one I just did a 6mm piece of MDF and painted it in a concrete colour, and basically gives me my edge for my fueling grid. You can build up as many as you like. Obviously they come in single packs, obviously for the center, and a twin pack for the two exteriors. I'll most probably do an offer. If you buy more than one pack you get a small discount, but just obviously these are extremely filly, they're tiny. The end pieces, just take your time. I've still got to do the 00 gauge ones, but they'll most probably be built in exactly the same way. We may have to try the ends slightly different because they'll be even smaller. But there you go, that is the O gauge fueling grid, and I hope that's been a helpful tutorial on how to build. It is fairly straightforward, to be honest. Just make sure when you're using the glue, don't get any excess water on the material. It is quite a porous material, so if you just wipe it off straight away if you're just cleaning up any glue or excess water like that. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video very soon. Take care. Bye bye.